Hi, class. Hope everyone's doing well. Just wanted to post this quick video as we kind of move into the next phase of class. We've just finished exam number one, so we've kind of covered, the first several chapters of the book, and now we're going to be getting even to more detailed information from now to the end of the semester. Well, first off, thank you for completing exam number one. I will do my best to have all exams graded by the end of the week. Now, as you can imagine, with 50 students ish in the class, and then having all cause I grade them by hand, I want to make sure I give attention to each one. So it takes a little bit of time to grade them. I will do my absolute best to try to have them done by the end of the week. And again, if there's any delays beyond that, I'll be sure to let you know. Um, and with that, because I always want to make sure that we are all on the same page as far as concepts. So you just finished the exam, but especially as we move into the second phase of class, please email me, call me, set up a Zoom meeting with me if there are concepts that you don't understand. Because we're about to really move into the part of the semester, kind of the heart of it, where a lot of our material can get very detailed, and I don't want anybody to feel left behind. So if there are concepts you don't understand, feel free to email me, call me, and we can certainly discuss, because again, I want everybody to feel confident as we move forward, in the middle to the end of the semester. I've already listed this week's module. There actually is, in addition to the readings, the PowerPoint I always post, as well as the video, there's also a discussion board assignment this week on two-tier wages. So a very, very important topic. So make sure that you go ahead and complete that this week. And even though we've had a couple of discussion board assignments already this semester, I still want to remind you about the expectations that I create for these. With any given discussion board post, there's always going to be 3 due dates. One, your initial post on Thursday, and then 2 different responses to 2 different classmates by Sunday. Again, in the event that changes, I will be sure to say so in advance, but always know that the expectation is an initial post by Thursday night, 2 additional posts by Sunday. And I may have made, for a lot of you, I may have made some notes here and there to kind of help you through this. But just know, there's always kind of a mistaken belief that the classmate responses aren't as important as the initial post, and that's certainly not true. I may weigh them differently as time goes on, but a lot of times I give them equal weight, because sometimes, the initial post is just to get the conversation started, and a lot of times I really like, the best posts sometimes I've seen come from the classmate responses. So treat them all equal, as in equal importance. Don't think that one is necessarily more important than the other. I always talk about word limits, and I put those details in each assignment. Make sure you pay careful attention to word limits, and especially on the minimums. And again, I don't do word minimums to be mean or to, just try to force you to add fluff material. I do it to try to make sure we're having richer, fuller conversations. Because, if I didn't give you any type of word limit, you might just type 1 or 2 or 3 sentences, and that's it. And we're not building our own collective knowledge. The whole idea behind word limits is to make sure that we cover all these different bases. And what I really love, and again, I think in a couple of videos I may have said, like your personalized videos, I might have said this, I love it when you bring in outside sources, and obviously cite the book. That's always a good place to start. But if you bring in outside sources and cite them either in your initial response or in your classmate response, man, I always think the world of that, and I always reward that when I'm grading. So always consider bringing in outside sources. As a general, I don't require it. If I do require it, I'll be sure to put it in the instructions. But just know you make me very, very excited and very happy if you bring in outside sources, whether that's the textbook or any other outside source. So just consider that, And I think I've made comments to several of you. Make sure to be very careful, specifically on your classmate responses. I don't want to see just 1 and 2 great, responses and then be done with it. Hey, John, loved what you wrote. Good job. And that's the only post. Or, hey, Sally, everything that you wrote, I wrote as well. I've seen that a couple of times, and that's not going to get you the points that you need. No, remember, if you're doing 1 or 2 sentences, you need to do more. Just kind of keep that in mind, especially on the classmate responses. And if you have specific questions about what else you should be writing, or thoughts and ideas, run them by me, and I'd be happy to discuss them with you so that you can get as many points as possible. Well, kind of the last thing that I want to mention is what we have coming up. Now that we're through exam number one and we have several weeks before exam number two, I want to remind you of two things. One, if you're in the graduate section only the graduate students, that your paper number one is coming up here in a couple of weeks. So make sure that you look at the due date in Canvas for that. And again, the instructions are listed. Make sure that you submit your paper in advance of the due date or by the due date. Again, if you're in the graduate section only, if you're not sure if you're in that graduate section, you can always email. I can let you know, but I think most of you know whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate student. But if you're unsure, send me an email. I'll be happy to share it with you. But the assignment that's due for everybody, regardless of who you are, is checkpoint number one. And again, it's coming due very, very soon. So make sure that you have started working on checkpoint number one. And again, make sure I provide, in addition to the instructions, I provided you two sample papers. One is one that received an A, and the other one, let's just say, did not earn an A. I think maybe that earned maybe a D, to be honest with you. I provide that sample for you to use it. So I don't want you to copy it word for word, obviously, because that's plagiarism. But use that as a guide for you on the template that you use to set it up, the type of detail that I'm looking for. Use that as a guide because, again, I give that to you for your reason. Because that tells you what I was looking for, how I want it organized, and the types of information you need to be providing and the amount of detail you need to be providing. So if you use that sample paper as a kind of a guide for you, you'll usually do very well on these checkpoints. And I will also do it for checkpoint number two. I don't do it for number three, but number three is a little bit different of assignment, you'll see. But I'll do the same thing for checkpoint number two as well. So use that as a template and a guide. And again, if you have questions about the checkpoint, call me or shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. All right, well, let's kind of kick the second phase of this class off with a good start. Again, I'll get your exam number one graded back to you as soon as I can, but I hope everyone has a good week, and we will talk soon.